Hello. This week's episode is from Agnes with Love, and it is about a supercomputer with a heart. It starts off, one of the very first lines of the episode mentions them debugging a subroutine or sub-process of this computer. Now, debugging, this might be the very first time that anyone hears this term on American television. It was a relatively new term, it wasn't in wide use. And it might be the very first time. As far as I can tell, it pretty much is. So debugging is all about removing bad code from a computer program, but the term originates back with the very first computer, basically first computer, the ENIAC, in the 40s, which had radio tubes instead of transistors, and it would generate enough heat and light so that bugs would actually fly into the computer. And every morning when you'd run it, because you had to run it at night because of cooling constraints, in the day you would turn everything off, and then you would clear bugs out of the system so it wouldn't muck it up. So debugging was a very physical act back then. They mentioned this to be an electronic computer. Now, this term doesn't sit very well anymore. No one uses it anymore, of course. And I wonder what it would contrast with. What is not an electronic computer? I'm guessing Babbage's difference engine would be a mechanical computer. Our brain could be a biological or organic computer, but it's a weird term. It feels very redundant. So the screen isn't an actual screen, of course. We've talked about this before. It's very difficult to film something on a TV screen. So instead they opted for this sort of hatch that opens and reveals a flash card underneath, and then they could just swap out the cards. This is done mostly, well, some of it is in real time, so you'd have someone behind just moving screens across when you have the closing and opening. But there's also some jump cuts where it closes, cut, change card, open. And most of the time it's seamless, but in some instances you can catch that there's a slight sort of hitch in the way the camera, or indeed it could be the set, was moved somehow. So that happens. So he gets told by Agnes to take the recklessly romantic approach. And that might not have been bad advice, but he was clearly not prepared to engage the reckless romantic approach. I did like that term, though, the reckless romantic approach. So he fouls that up madly. And then, of course, she gives him bum advice by taking him to... Are you talking about the guy with tan and muscles in the sport car? She goes, yeah, sure, it'll work. And of course, that doesn't pan out at all, at least not for him. Walter, the tall, tanned, muscled computer programmer. That's Ralph Tager, big Western star, did several TV shows, many episodes of Westerns. So he was a established, rugged, handsome man back in this era. I really like the Venus Schmeenus thing when she doesn't want to talk about Venus anymore. I was like, no, I don't want to do that. Finally, I want to mention Nan Peterson. So the secretary that passes in the hallway and she gets chocolate and flowers and then finally the door card. That's Nan Peterson. And she stars in 4 different episodes. So 1 in season 1 and 2 in season 3. So lovely place to visit. Walking Distance. That's the first one. And then in this one. And this is actually her last appearance on screen. So she went off and did other things with her life. But she had done some movies in the past, like some horror movies and stuff. And this is her last performance as far as I can tell. So next week is the spur of the moment, which, can I say I look forward to it? Or is that contrived? We'll find out. Anyway, thank you all, and I'll see you then. Take care now. Bye.